Good morning, everyone. Today we are reviewing our layer masks. So the first thing that we are going to do is we are going to drag the bricks into Photoshop. Start out with that image. And as you can see, it is quite a large image, so you might have to press Command minus just to shrink that down a little bit. What's the first thing that we should be doing when we open up a photo in Photoshop? Thank you, Command J. Good. And we are going to label that editing layer. Next, we are going to take the other image that's on our desktop, and we are going to drag it right on top of the bricks. Just plop it right there. And I'm holding down Shift so that it doesn't warp when I stretch it out. And I'm pulling the corner so that she expands a little bit more before I place this image. To place this image, I can press Enter on my keyboard, or I can press a check mark. I clicked on this image and it says Smart Object must be rasterized before proceeding. That's okay. I just wanted to show you, demonstrate that when that happens, just press OK. That means that it was a PNG file, or there was another feature to this file that needs to be flattened a little bit more before we work on it. So if you ever see that pop up, it's not destroying anything, just click OK. And let's review, how do I transform this shape again? Command T, thank you. So if I want to stretch it out a little bit more, there we go. Press Enter. We are going to, then I'm going to change the opacity a little bit just to visualize where those bricks are. And I also want to, so I just have it at like 81. So I can mentally start seeing what I'm about to do. But I'm going to show you how to use the crop tool. And instead of us, stretching her out, I want to show you that we can crop this image so that the bricks are the same as the square right here. So in your left side toolbox, make sure you have the left side toolbox. You'll see that there is a crop tool, slice select tool. We are going to just use the regular crop tool, and you're going to click and hold down, starting at the corner, drag, and I dragged across the corner. Now you can pull in. And when you do that, you can see how some part is a little bit darker. That's the spot where information will be cut out or taken away. Now, when you crop images in Photoshop, you can't bring that information back. So you need to do this always very carefully. But I want us to get rid of some of the extra brick, and then we're going to press Enter. So I use the crop tool on the left side toolbox. Yep. So all I did was and it doesn't matter what layer you're on. The crop tool, it works for all layers. I'm sure there's a setting where it only affects one layer, but we're doing just the regular crop tool. And I clicked top left corner and I held down when my click, pull all the way down to the bottom right corner. And then there's a box that kind of looks like the transform box, but instead of an X, there's a grid. Then I'm going to take these two little arrows and I'm going to pull them in. And it kind of snaps right to the edge of the photo. It's nice. of the other photo. And then I'm going to pull the other edge in, and I'm going to press enter. Good. So what we are going to do next, and we are going to add a mask to the layer of the portrait photograph. So how we do that is that we select the layer, we go down to this third icon in your layers panel, the rectangle with a circle in it. You click on that once and you see that you have a square next to your image in that layer. So this is the layer mask thumbnail. And when you click on this, what we're going to do is we are going to start erasing this gray area. And you're going to be doing this very tediously. So I'm going to be, today's practicing your craftsmanship, all about your craftsmanship and the size of your brush and what type of brush you're using when we're subtracting information from a layer. But I'm going to have this back at about 80–85% opacity, this layer that has the mask. So in the layers panel, opacity, I just changed that to 85. All right, so we want to next go over, make sure we have this mask selected. We are going to go over to the left side toolbox, and we are going to click on what tool? Brush tool. Good. And then what are we going to do? Yes, switch these little swatches with the arrow, or if they're not even close to black and white, you want to make sure the top one is black for subtracting information, and the bottom one is white. What is a quick key that you can use to switch them? The letter X on your keyboard. Whee! Look at that. Easy switch back and forth. Now, how can I shrink the size and adjust the size of my brush? Yes, good. The bracket keys. Or you can right click and slide that. That's correct. Right click, you also can easily see the features or different style of brushes that you can use with any tool, any type of brush tool specifically. You also have the option up in the option panel. I want you to make sure that your mode up top is normal for now. And opacity, you can adjust the how transparent your tool is, and then the flow. This is kind of how, between flow and opacity, that's basically the strength of your tool. So flow is more visible when you're actually doing painting, but you're welcome to adjust that and see what happens. Now what we are going to do is we are going to start erasing the background, but I want to, and I have my opacity at 100. I'm going to turn it down to maybe 80. I can type that in. So my opacity of the tool up at the top, I typed in 80. Right now I have kind of a sharp edge. I'm going to soften it as I get started. That's always kind of a good idea. And all I'm doing is using the brush tool with black on top right here, white on the bottom, and it's working on only this mask layer. So make sure you have this selected. If you do not have a mask in this layer, you can click on this layer and then click on this third icon that's at the bottom of your layers panel. Click it once, the rectangle with a circle, and add that if you still don't have that layer mask. Then you can use the brush tool and it should work to subtract this information.
You want to keep her hair?
Yes, all of her hair. You're going to zoom in, and how do I zoom in and zoom out? Yes, Command plus and minus. So today I'm looking for craftsmanship, which means when you're doing this technique, you want to zoom in, and if you need to play around with the opacity of your layer to see better, that's okay. It's now, sometimes with these editing exercises, sometimes it's your preference. So, but I might have that be up to 90 opacity, the entire layer. I'm going to start going in here. When I get close to any edges, like the contour of her face or the profile or side of her face, I will right click and change my brush to a harder edge brush. And I'm going to shrink that down to a size where I can fit into some of those smaller areas. And whoops, I took off her chin, part of her chin. That's okay. Oh, let's not do that. How I can bring that information back, it's not the end of the world. If you're using the eraser tool, that'd be no fun. I mean, you could undo, but you can't do it later.
What's your hardness at?
I have opacity 80 up top, and then I have, if I right click, I'm using the second brush in, and then my opacity in my layers panel is 90.
Can I get this to someone? Where's my treats?
Tell them that they're here, but I don't want food in here, so you need to leave it outside. How I'm moving around the photo as I'm holding down my space bar, clicking, and then dragging to move around very easily. Now this should take you quite some time. Probably most of the hour today. It is a shortened hour.
How are you moving to?
I'm holding down the space bar. So when I zoom in, Command plus, and then I'm holding down the space bar, that hand shows up and it pulls you around if you click and hold down. Mm-hmm. Now, once you get to some of these these little pieces of hair, I'm making my brush size really small, and I have my edge still sharp. And I'm going along the edge of that chunk of hair. You don't have to do each individual hair, but usually if there's a bunch of it. Now these details, how tedious you do this, the more convincing the photo is. So if you take off all her hair, it's going to be obvious, like a cookie cutter. She was popped in there. I'm even going into some of these negative shapes. Yeah. Yeah, so you kind of have to decide yourself what hair you want to keep, what hair you think. Now it's really good to right click and maybe have some variety with the softness of your brush or hardness of your brush. That variety of using different brushes make it also more convincing, so you don't have too sharp of edges everywhere.
I found out that the thing next to the go finger brush, the button, it's where you can see how
The layer. Did you press the layer mask? What button?
this one.
Oh, no, that's not good.
Because I was just going to show a layer. The quick look of your mask. But it's not visible right now. can't remember how to do that. Oh, that works with a selection tool. Never mind. So again, our goal today is to focus on the quality Now, if your edges are really, really sharp, I might suggest that you go up to your top option panel and you adjust your opacity. I want you to see the variety, all sorts of different options when you're using this technique.
My line is red and it won't go away.
Okay.
I feel like you erase There's nothing about
Really be focusing on detail. if you push the key to the right of the brackets, mine, I'm not sure why mine's not turning red. Go ahead and press that real quick. So this is what we will be using for the selection tool. For some reason, mine's not turning red. Hopefully I can figure that out soon. But this is called kind of a quick mask. A quick mask will show even sharper details. So the red helps you see things better. Now you just press that backslash button again to get rid of it. Yeah, mine's just gray. I don't know why, but that can be really a helpful tool. Another, when we use the selection tool, the quick mask key or quick mask mode is over here, but we're not using that for this technique. It's not there forever. It's just a mode that helps you see detail. So don't panic. You can easily get rid of it by pressing that button again to the right of your brackets. Your hair is just so crazy. Some of the, we were just commenting over here about how frizzy some of her hair is. Now, when you get to like the back of her neck or in some other patches where, where it gets soft, or, softer edges, that means your brush, you should probably have softer edges. And I would turn the opacity down. And I have it at like 16 right now. So and I'm talking about the opacity in the option panel, not your layers. Your option panel for this tool. And that will soften up your edge and your tool. So if your edges are looking really sharp, it's not convincing right now, try this. So I'm using my tool with a soft brush and opacity 16 or around that area is fine. And I'm clicking, using it over and over again. Yep, it could be a 20, it can be, it doesn't really matter. Just that general area, meaning it's very transparent, the use of the tool.
Have a list of
A list of what?
lunches.
Lunches? Oh, that's a good question. I can pull that up in a minute. So I'm gonna, I think, stop.
That's it.
Well, actually, let me, if you are finished with this, I want you to look and see, oh my gosh, what happened to the rest of her? If you take a look over here at my thumbnail, what happened? is I took the move tool, which is in the top of your toolbox, and I clicked and I move. You can move it around. And I'm moving around the entire layer. So all I did was I'm clicked on the photo right now, and I clicked on the move tool, and yoo-hoo, yoo-hoo, there she is. So that's pretty neat. Another thing, if you are finished, I want you to maybe do some adjustments. You can see what happens when you are adjusting the bricks, when you're adjusting her. You can add, let's say we click on the editing layer and we take the burn tool, and maybe we have a little cast shadow behind her where, need to do that a little bit lighter. But maybe we have a cast shadow behind her. The light source is coming from the right, so her shadow would be on the bricks on the left. It kind of looks funky, though, when I did that. You get the idea. You can turn your opacity of the layer up to 100 if you want to see what that looks like. Looks like it needs some work right here. So I'm clicking on the mask, going back to my brush tool, making sure black is on top.
All my work just got erased.
No, I didn't. Hold on. Okay, so that's the idea for today. I'm going to stop this video. I want everyone to just kind of go into detail, add some adjustment layers. If you don't have your adjustment layer panel there, just go up to Window, click Adjustments. I'll help you in just a second. We have 3 minutes now? Oh, I thought we had until 50.
I know what I did.
I don't have my schedule right here. Oh, okay. That's all I got for this video.
It's 30